Hi, my name is Ken. I'd like to talk to you about leadership. I hope you'll be a specific kind of leader, a leader who makes life better for others. Don't worry, you don't have to be a big man or woman on campus. You don't have to have a title or position. All you have to do is pay attention to people and figure out what you and the members of your Interact Club can do to help them. There are lots of ideas about leadership. A common one is what I call the power model of leadership. It says that leadership's about getting power and making people do things. But there's a better model, and that's the service model of leadership. The service model says that leadership's about making a difference in the lives of others. People who live the service model are often called servant leaders. They live the Rotary motto, service above self. Servant leaders identify and meet the needs of others. So a servant leader does not ask, how can I get power? How can I make people do things? The servant leader asks, what do people need? How can I help them to get it? What does my organization need to do? How can I help my organization to do it? So rather than embarking on a quest for personal power, the servant leader embarks on a quest to identify and meet the needs of others. That's the mission of a servant leader, to identify and meet the needs of others. Servant leaders care about people and want to treat them right. This is where the Rotary four-way test fits so perfectly. The questions that Rotarians ask in the four-way test are the questions that servant leaders ask. They're not questions about power. They're questions about how we treat other people. Are we truthful with them? Are we being fair to them? Are we building good relationships with them? Are we sharing the benefits? Are we concerned that whatever we do will be beneficial to all concerned? Those are the right questions for servant leaders. When you identify and meet the needs of others, you make a difference in their lives, and that gives you meaning and joy in your life. It gives you the kind of meaning and joy you can't buy. It's the kind of meaning and joy that will keep you going even when times are tough. You'll know that you're helping others and their lives are better because you paid attention to them and helped them. And another thing, when you change lives for the better, there'll be a ripple effect. The people you help can have a positive impact on others, and they can have a positive impact on more people, and the ripple continues. You can leave a real legacy. You can have a lasting impact. And that's one of the great things about servant leaders. Yes, they can hold a position and have a title, and they can have power, but they know that the whole purpose of their leadership is to have a positive impact. And if you want to have a positive, lasting impact on the world, you simply focus on others, not yourself. You don't need a position, title, or power to focus on others. You just have to decide to do it. So how do you do it? Well, there are a lot of key practices that make servant leaders effective. A really big thing for servant leaders is listening. If you want to identify the needs of others, it's really important to ask questions and then listen. You don't start with your own ideas, your own programs, or your own desires. Those can be important, but you don't start there. You start by listening to others. What do other people think? What are their wants and needs? What are their hopes and dreams? What is their situation? Servant leaders listen first. Listening first can take up time up front, but it can save a lot of time later. You listen first to make sure you understand the situation so that when you act, your actions are relevant. If you act quickly without listening, you may not understand the situation and you may end up wasting time and effort, or you may even do something harmful. Years ago, I had the pleasure of spending a couple of days with Dr. Ernesto Cirolli. Dr. Cirolli is one of the world's leading consultants on the topic of economic development. He helps communities to create jobs. Dr. Cirolli learned at an early age that if he wanted to help people, he had to be quiet and listen first. He tells a story about his first experience in Africa along the Zambezi River. He was 21 and he was working for an Italian non-governmental organization. They had been given a valley next to the river with rich soil and great potential. They went to teach the Zambians how to do agriculture. So they brought Italian seeds for tomatoes and zucchini, and they tried to get the Zambians to help plant them. The Zambians were not very interested in doing that, even when the Italians paid them. Well, the tomatoes grew beautifully, much larger than they grew in Italy. Then one night, when the tomatoes were ripe and red, more than 200 hippos came out of the river and ate all of them. The Italians said to the Zambians, "The hippos!" And the Zambians said, "That is why we do no agriculture here." "Why didn't you tell us?" the Italians said. And the Zambians replied, "You never asked." That is when Dr. Cirolli decided to begin by asking and listening. Servant leaders listen in the broad sense. They do whatever they can to learn about the people they hope to serve. That can include one-on-one conversations, small group discussions, interaction on social media, surveys, and just watching what people do and listening to what they say. If you're good at listening, you'll be good at identifying needs. That means you will be in a great position to meet those needs. And when you do meet those needs, you will change lives for the better. That's how you help others' dreams come true. And that's one of the best things you can do with your life. Help other people's dreams come true. And if you dream of helping others, well, that's how your dream will come true also. There's plenty of empirical evidence that proves that servant leadership works. For example, servant leaders are good at leading teams. Groups led by servant leaders are more helpful and creative, more committed, and perform at higher levels. Research shows that in the business world, companies led by servant leaders are more successful. As servant leadership goes up, profits go up. So it's worth learning to be a servant leader. It will help you to be an effective leader for the rest of your life. But you know you don't have to wait. You know you can be effective as a servant leader right now. Your Interact Club is the perfect place for servant leadership. You and your Interact Club members make a difference in the lives of your fellow students, as well as the lives of people in the communities in which you live, and the lives of the new friends you make in other countries around the world. So get out there and make a difference.